Hello, welcome to True Crime Talk. I'm Kathleen, and this is just an update video regarding Michael Gaine, the missing farmer in Ireland. I found an article from today or yesterday, May 16th, 2025, that says Michael Gaine farmyard declared crime scene after suspected human matter found in slurry tank. And I wasn't sure what a slurry tank was, although I had a feeling it's something like a septic tank or something, so I looked it up. And it says a slurry tank is a large container used to store and manage slurry, which is a mixture of liquid manure and organic waste. These tanks help in the safe storage and processing of slurry, often converting it into fertilizer for agricultural use. And I guess this is some pictures of slurry tanks. Yeah, so I guess there's something like that on the farm where he disappeared from, and apparently they have found some human matter there. Says the dramatic development comes just over a fortnight after Gardaí upgraded his missing person case to homicide. Says Gardaí sensationally declared Michael Gaine's farmyard a crime scene tonight after a small amount of suspected human matter was found in a slurry tank. Sources told the Irish Mirror that the organic matter was found on Friday at the missing 56-year-old's farm outside Kenmare in County Kerry. We have been told that Gardaí are not sure whether the organic matter is from a human, but believe it may be. The matter, which is not a body part, was found early yesterday. Senior Gardaí last night declared the farm a crime scene. The organic matter is set to be tested forensically later today to confirm if it is human. It could be human, it could be from an animal, but it has to be checked, a source said. It is the first major development since officers upgraded Mr. Gaine's missing person case to a homicide probe late last month. He was last seen in a shop in Kenmare on March 20th. Okay, so Michael Gaine has been missing since March 20th, and they've declared his farm or part of his farm a crime scene because they think they might have found some human matter there. But they haven't tested it yet, so it may end up not being human. It could be animal. Gardaí upgraded the case to murder after concluding that he had either been murdered or died accidentally. Gardaí said last night, and Gardaí Sashana, and I know I'm not pronouncing that right, and I'm sorry, have this evening recommenced operations at lands at Carrick East, Kenmare County, Kerry, and Gardaí is not in a position to provide further information at this stage. So the police aren't giving out information. The police seem very good at not leaking information about their cases more than they are here in America. The development comes just over 2 weeks after Mr. Gaine's wife, Janice, appealed for help from the public in solving the mystery of his disappearance. If there is anybody that has any information about Michael, do please come forward and talk to the Gardaí. We just want Michael to come home, she said. Mrs. Gaine issued a video appeal on April 30th, a day after Gardaí upgraded the investigation into Michael's disappearance from a missing person case to homicide. Mrs. Gaine said in her statement, I am Janice Gaine. I am Michael Gaine's wife. I would just like to say something about Michael, that he was my best friend, my husband. This whole thing has been devastating. He loved his home. He loved his farm. He loved farming. He loved his animals. He loved rallying. And this is his wife right here. He had lots of friends. He was a very popular guy, and his disappearance is totally out of character. Well, we knew that from day one. If there is anybody that has any information about Michael, do please come forward and talk to the Gardaí. We just want Michael to come home. We want to know what happened to him, because if we can't find Michael, I just don't know what I am going to do, and what his family, his sister Noreen, I just want Michael to come home. So that is what the Irish Mirror has about the latest involving this case. So, I mean, I guess since he's been missing so long, if it is part of his body that they found, it would be a good thing to help them in their investigation, but it would obviously mean that obviously he's deceased, which they already think, because that's why they turned it into a homicide investigation. This is another article from RTE website. It says area close to Gaine disappearance designated crime scene. This is from Saturday, May 17th. Gardaí investigating the disappearance of Michael Gaine have sealed off an area close to the farmyard where he went missing in Kenmare County, Kerry, 8 weeks ago. It is understood the area has now been designated a crime scene. As light faded last night, there were two Garda cars and a number of Gardaí at the farmyard, close to the area that has been sealed off. A forensic and technical examination will take place this morning. And this is the X posting about it. It says Gardaí investigating the disappearance of Mike Gaine have sealed off an area close to the farmyard where he went missing in Kenmare County, Kerry, 8 weeks ago. RTE News understands the area has been designated a crime scene. This was the scene as light faded at Mike Gaine's farm. And it just shows the police vehicles there. The area is understood to be in a field on Mr. Gaine's land close to the farmyard at Carrick East, around 6 kilometers from Kenmare. The farm straddles the Ring of Kerry Road between Kenmare and Mall's Gap. Mr. Gaine has been missing since March 20th. He was formally reported missing the following day on March 21st. For 6 weeks, his disappearance was treated by Gardaí as a missing persons case. However, on April 29th, the investigation was reclassified as a homicide. The reclassification of the investigation followed an assessment by Gardaí heading up the investigation that Mr. Gaine was dead and that he died by homicide. Homicide covers the possibility that Mr. Gaine may have been murdered, as well as the possibility that he died as a result of the actions of another, even if those actions were not intentional, manslaughter, for instance. Investigations by the Garda team involved have been in-depth and extensive, ruling out innocent explanations such as that Mr. Gaine had an accident or a medical event and died, that he left the area voluntarily, told nobody, and concealed his exit, or that he took his life. At the time Gardaí announced the reclassification of their investigation, they said they had completed 320 individual inquiries or jobs. Almost 130 witness statements had been taken. Around 2,200 hours of CCTV and dash cam footage had been recovered and are being examined, and hundreds of acres of farmland had been searched by trained search teams using drones and by specially trained search and rescue dogs and cadaver dogs. I'm going to stop there a second. The only question I have, if they think they found some human remains in a slurry tank, why wasn't the tank searched earlier, or did they just come back and do a more extensive search of it, or was it not until they declared his disappearance a homicide that then they decided to do more extensive searches into containers on his farm? Confirmation that this was a criminal investigation placed a whole range of new investigative tools at the disposal of the investigating team. Well, I guess that's why. But once it became a homicide, then they started to do a lot more, I guess. It meant, for instance, Gardaí could designate certain areas as crime scenes, close them off, and examine them forensically. Oh, okay. So that's so in Ireland, once they declare a homicide or a homicide, then it can be declared as a crime scene, and then they can search it more thoroughly. Okay. They could direct people to leave those areas and, subject to court approval, they could have reasonable time to search and examine those areas. So it's a little bit different than a search warrant in America. And as long as you have probable cause and you get a judge to sign a search warrant, you can search really immediately after somebody disappears if you think there's something going on. A missing persons investigation operates on the basis of consent with the goodwill of people involved. Now that the investigation into Mr. Gaine's disappearance is a criminal homicide investigation, Gardaí could go to court and secure court orders and warrants to seize and examine certain items, such as mobile phones and laptops. But does that mean, and I'm just asking, I have no idea, I'm just wondering, does that mean that the family of Michael Gaine, because it would be the family, the wife who owned the farm, if he's missing or could give consent, did they refuse to let people, the police come and do a very thorough search of the property? So they had to wait until it's declared a homicide to be able to do that. They could also get warrants to search homes and other properties. Reclassification meant the range of options in front of the investigation team significantly increased. In their statement announcing the reclassification of the investigation, Gardaí stressed that they have not recovered Mr. Gaine's body, and they renewed their appeal for information to assist them in his return. The statement also explicitly stated that Gardaí believed there were people who know what happened to Mr. Gaine on March 20th. They specifically appealed to people who may have felt they were not in a position to speak to the investigation team about information they had, or people who may have spoken to Gardaí but may have more to say to come forward now and speak to the investigating team. So apparently they think there's people who, I mean, besides, like if he was a victim of homicide, besides the person who did him in, they think other people know what happened to him. They're asking for them to come forward. So, of course, the question I have is, who are those people who did something to him? Was it his family or just somebody else he knew? Obviously, if he was killed, it was by somebody he knew. If the last place he was on his own farm. Doesn't necessarily mean it's his wife or family, but was it, like I've heard stories about an American soldier or a veteran who lived on his property, who he allowed to live on his property or in one of his homes. Do they think maybe that guy and other people know, and the friends of that guy know what happened? Or is this the case where the wife did do something to her husband and they just haven't found the majority of his body yet? If the wife did it, she would have to have help. I guess that's why they think other people know about it. I have no idea. I'm just speculating because I just happened to see this new information online today and I was wondering, well, what does this mean? So anyway, that's an update I have today, May 17th, 2025, regarding the disappearance and the believed homicide of Michael Gaine in Ireland. So I guess we'll see. Maybe in the next few days they determine that that is a human body, and then they could do like DNA tests and determine that it is from his body. They can determine what happened to him. If they're looking in slurry tanks and they haven't found his body before, I'm going to assume that it wasn't some kind of accident and that he didn't do something to himself, that obviously somebody purposely murdered him and then hid his body or disposed of his body, or who knows what they did to his body if they think they might have found only a piece of it. So anyway, that's an update on Michael Gaine.